Welcome to this public administration lecture or video, whatever you want to call it. I'm not an expert in the subject, okay? I'm just learning like you. So I thought I'll make video notes so that I can come back to this and watch later instead of reading the book again. So consider this like a friend teaching you instead of viewing this as a lecture material, because it's not. These are my notes from Aribam book, paper 1. So let's start with this. Okay, so first topic is meaning of public administration. So public administration can be viewed in two different ways. Okay, one as an activity like whatever you do, and the second as a branch of science that you study. Like a discipline that you study. So when you take public administration as an activity, it's a practice or profession like what the government does. So it deals with the government in action. Public administration is an area of study. It is a discipline of study like any other studies, biology or whatever, it's the same. So it will contain both theory and the daily activities of the government in action, right? So it deals with the government in action and many more than that, because there is theory also. So it is more difficult to understand public administration as a discipline rather than as a practice, because there is practice and theory. That's what my understanding is. If it's wrong, please forgive me. You can put it in the comments also. So next we'll talk about the epistemology of public administration. So from the name there are two aspects, right? One is public and another one is administration. So if you see public, according to Dwight Waldo, who is Dwight Waldo? He's an American political scientist. All right. So he's considered one of the most important political scientists of the last 100 years. Don't worry about the names, I think, because these names will repeat themselves again and again. So when we come to the end of this entire public administration series, these names will become so familiar that we don't even have to memorize them. So if you don't know about Minobrew conference, just wait, because it will come into the later part of the lecture. So Dwight Waldo, he headed both Minobrew 1 and 2. That's about him. So he has defined what is public in the term public administration. It's the state or the government. Okay. So now administration is derived from two Latin words. One is ad and the other one is ministre, which means to serve, to care for, to look after people. So public administration as a practice includes all the activities of the government to provide service to people. Public administration refers to efforts taken by the government to serve the people. Public administration has no unanimous definition. Sorry. Why is that? Because administration changes according to the political setup or the way the government is set up, and it differs from country to country, state to state, or even region to region. So you can't come to one particular definition, because public administration keeps on evolving. You can say that the administrative structure of any government 50 years back is not the same as that is present now. There is digital India, so a lot of things, lot of administrative activities have been shifted to digital. So the definition also will keep on changing. So therefore the definition suffers from the limitations in future. So right now a lot of decisions are taken through online meeting, online certificates are given. So we cannot define as such. See, there are a lot of thinkers in public administration. Okay, so each thinker will have his own definition of the topic. So it keeps on changing. So there are different schools of thoughts of public administration, and they all have tried to define the term. So let's start with narrow view. As the name suggests, it is about only one part of the government. It is the visible aspect of government which is responsible for enforcement and implementation of the law. So which part is that? It is the executive. That's the government in action. So it talks about executive branch of the government. It says state only. State is the only thing that is present in administration. That too, the visible part. Now let's go to the opposite of that, that is the broad view. It talks about government in action plus legislature and judiciary and their interdependence. So the scope of public administration is broader in broad view, as the name suggests, and it is narrow in narrow view, that's all. And the last topic for today, because I haven't created notes for the others yet, so it's political school of thought. So it says that public administration is not just about the state. It is not about the state as such, but also other things that are present in a country or a region. The proponents are Robert Dahl and Easton. Okay, so they believe that public administration should deal with the allocation of resources. Why allocation of resources? Because resources help people to grow, develop, and live. And in a country or in a place, the allocation of resources should be done by an authority, right? And the government is the legitimate institution which is allowed to use coercive power. I cannot force you to do something, but the government can. Not maybe not in a democratic country, but there are different types of government, a dictatorship and all that. Even in a democratic country, there are some rules that are enforced with the help of laws. So the state or the government is the legitimate institution which is allowed to use coercive power. So therefore the state or the government is responsible for providing goods and services, ensure security and prosperity of the society, and a decision making body. These are all the works of a government. So the public administration is nothing but the study of the provisions for allocation of goods and services and resources. So instead of saying it is directly administering people, it is about the provisions that are present for the allocation of resources. So when this comes, see, it is not only for the state. I will tell you why. There are some places that are affected by the Naxals, right, or insurgent prone areas or war affected areas. So their governance is different from an area where there is relative peace, because Naxals are not the state actors. So but the administration in that area does not only depend on the government in power, but also the external agents or the insurgent agents like Naxals. Thus, the narrow or broad view becomes irrelevant as they emphasized in state itself. The action of the state is heavily influenced by the presence of these antisocial elements, anti-state elements. So public administration, according to political school of thought, is the study of state and non-state institutions and may extend to anti-state institutions. This school broadened the ambit of public administration, taking it from the state-only approach, because in narrow view we saw that only the executive branch of the state is responsible for public administration, and in broader view there are the three legislative, executive, and the judiciary, but it is also about the state. But this political school of thought said that it is not just the state, but it is out of state, right? It's not be studied only for the state. So that's it. If you find any mistakes in this lecture, I am really sorry for that. Please put it in the comments so that I can rectify it. And if you like this kind of videos, I will make more, and I will continue making notes, and we can complete the entire public administration in like 60 days at the max, provided that I am really consistent in studying and preparing notes. And if there is anything that you want to suggest to improve or anything like that, I will definitely take it into account and improve the next videos and upcoming videos. I have not put my photo or the videos in between, because if you want to take screenshots of these notes, then you are more than welcome to take. And if you want the compiled notes, I will share the Google Drive after I finish all the videos and make notes. Okay, so if you have any doubts, just put it in the comments. Since this is a very new channel and there will not be a lot of comments, I will try to read all the comments and I will give you replies. That's about it. So instead of considering this as a lecture, please think about this as you discussing the topic with your friend. I don't have any great knowledge on the topic, but I'm trying to give my level best. So I have been reading from this book Haribam, and I'm trying to give you all the important points. Well, there is one more thing that I wanted to say. In narrow view and broad view, and in other topics also, they had given the names of thinkers who were proponents of these views, but I haven't included them because the names, they may be overwhelming at first, because there are a lot of names, but once we start the topic and we read more on that, these names will become familiar.